Hello, my name is Mary Marr and I am a home economics teacher in a special needs school in County Kildare. Getting ready for cooking. Use a hairband to push back the hair from your face. Use a bungee to tie up your hair. Most important, not to let hair get into your food. Take an apron and put on an apron. Roll up long sleeves and wash hands. Follow this 10-step hand washing video that is shown earlier. So now we have got ready for cooking, we've washed our hands and we're going to clean the table. Follow the step-by-step tutorial given in a previous video to complete this. Today we're going to be making cheesecake. Firstly, we collect our ingredients. So we have digestive biscuits, and I choose reduced fat digestive biscuits because fat is not good in our diet. If you're going to make this for a celiac, you can choose gluten-free digestive biscuits. Next, we have butter. We have some cream cheese. And if you're making this for a celiac, look in the section free from within the supermarkets. Now, full fat cream cheese has a lot of fat, so I'm going to be using half and half. So half full fat and half of light cream cheese. We are using a strawberry jelly. We're using cream. We're using some fresh strawberries, and we need water to make the jelly. Secondly, we collect our equipment. We have a chopping board. We have a rolling pin, our colander, our disposable gloves, small saucepan. We have a measuring jug. We have a sharp knife, a big spoon. We have a spring tin, and we use these for cheesecakes. We have our electric kettle, our weighing scales. We have a small cake mixer. We need 2 bowls, so I've chosen 2 glass bowls, a small bowl, 2 large plates, and 1 serving plate. Now, we don't need one of the large plates and serving plates for the moment because they're for serving up the cheesecake, so I'm just going to put them away. Firstly, we're going to make the jelly. So we're going to fill our electric kettle with some cold water and we're going to put it on to boil. So we only need to fill it halfway. Always when filling the kettle, hold it by the handle and do not put it into your sink. We can open the lid and we're going to put some cold water in. So I'm going to watch where it's filling. So I'm only going to fill it halfway because we only need a little cold water. We covered the element for safety. We close our lid down and we're going to take it over to boil. Once again, make sure that you dry your hands before putting in plugs so you won't get an electric shock. So we plug in our kettle. If you have a switch on the wall, switch down, and we switch our kettle on here. Make sure it's pushed back in from the edge. So our kettle has boiled. The red switch clicks off. So we're going to plug out the kettle and we're going to take our kettle and we're going to measure 100 mils of water. So 100 mils is here At home, if you're doing this with your student, you might just put a marker where the 100 is. So I'm going to leave it on a flat surface. I'm going to hold my kettle and I'm going to pour in until it's 100. So I take my jug of hot water to the table. I'm going to open my jelly and I'm going to put my jelly into the hot water, the boiling water. And we can leave it sitting there in the boiling water. We can give it a stir while we're working at other things. Next, I'm going to get my strawberries ready. So it's really important to put on disposable gloves when handling the strawberries, because these strawberries are only going to be washed and they're not going to be cooked, so we have to be very, very careful. So put on your disposable gloves. We're going to weigh out, we're going to cut the tops off the strawberries first and then we're going to weigh them. So if they will come off on their own, it's great. Yes, they do. If you can do that, that's fine. So we're going to, if it doesn't work like that, just cut the bare top off. So we're going to pull off the top if they're nice and soft. So we're going to be using 200 grams of strawberries. So taking the tops off is called hulling. So we don't eat that part, but one often sees them in recipes with the green part on. So I'm just going to put that on my rubbish plate. So we're going to cut the strawberries up nice and small. So using our bridge hold, we're going to put our fingers both sides. They're nice and big, so we're going to cut them into half. And then we're going to cut them into half again. So they're going into 4 parts. So now all our strawberries are cut. So we are going to put them into the colander and we're going to wash them. And when they're washed, we're going to weigh them. So always wash strawberries under cold water. We're just going to leave our chopping board aside. So we're going to wash the strawberries under cold water. This is a great recipe this time of the year in May, June, because the strawberries are in season. So give them a shake and hold your hand underneath, walking back. Before I weigh the strawberries, I'm just going to give my jelly another stir to make sure it's all melting. So we're going to weigh 200 grams of strawberries. So make sure your scales is at 0 starting, and we're going to pour these in. And we have 236. So it's a little bit over 200, but I'm going to keep them for decoration on the top. So I'm going to take my washed strawberries and put them into my bowl. Next, we're going to weigh out our biscuits. And it's really, really important to keep your gloves on because the biscuits are ready to eat food. They're not going to be cooked, they're going to be eaten straight. So just check your bowl and maybe just dry it out with a little bit of kitchen towel before weighing out our biscuits. Now we're going to be weighing 300 grams of biscuits. So use the little tab on the biscuits to open the biscuits. It says tear here. And if it doesn't work, just use a knife to cut down. Always cutting downwards with the knife. So once again, make sure your scales is at 0 starting and we're weighing 300 grams. So it's nearly the full packet. So we have 303, so we'll just break off a little. $301, 300. So we take a large plastic bag and we put half our biscuits into it because we're going to crush half of them first. So close your bag up. Leave a little opening to get the air out. We take our rolling pin, we hold it by the sides, and we're going to press down. So our biscuits are nearly crushed. Press down really hard, and your student might need a little bit of help with this. So give them a little shake so they're like this in the bag. Open up your bag and put them into one of your bowls. So they're crumbed, and we do this with the rest of the biscuits. So I'm going to take the second bag of crushed biscuits and put them in with the first. So we have a big bowl of crushed biscuits. Check the jelly and see if it has melted. So that jelly has completely dissolved. So I'm going to leave that jelly aside. You can put it into the fridge for a few moments until it's ready to be used. We're just going to wipe our spoon to measure out the margarine. So we've used 300 grams of biscuits, and we're going to use half of margarine, so that's 150 grams. So here again, make sure your scales is at 0. And we're going to measure 150. So it would be helpful at home if you write these figures down. They're in the recipe, but if you write them down on a piece of paper for your student or your son or daughter. So 150 grams. So we have 155. So we're going to take out a little bit. Whoops. 150. We're going to take our margarine and we're going to put it into our sauce. We're going to take the margarine to the cooker to melt the margarine. So we put our saucepan on the back ring. We put the handle over the worktop, and we're going to turn on the switch on the wall, and then we're going to look for the back ring, and we're going to turn it on to number 5 or 6 on your ring at home, or high. So we wait now until our butter is melted. So now our butter has melted. So we're going to switch off our cooker on the wall, and we're going to switch off our ring to 0. So we take the saucepan of butter by the handle, and we're carrying it to the table, so we shout hot when we're carrying it, and we place it on the chopping board when we get to the table. So we take our melted margarine and we pour it into our biscuits. So next we're going to weigh out our cream cheese. We weigh out 300 grams. So I am going to use 150 grams of full fat cheese and 150 grams of reduced fat, approximately. So 140, so just a little bit more. 150. So the rest is going to make up to 300. So I'm going to take my reduced fat cheese, and I'm going to put. So now I have 240, so I'm going to have to go back and use a little bit of this. So we have 304 grams. So we're going to take our cream cheese and we're going to put it into our second bowl. And remember, cream cheese comes from the cows. It's a dairy product, but it's a high fat dairy product, so we shouldn't eat too much of it. We can take our gloves off now because we're finished with them. We've taken our jelly out of our fridge, and it's just a little bit set. Okay, so we're going to pour it in with our cream cheese and scrape it out well. So we're going to use this jug to measure 400 mils of cream. Now it doesn't matter if there's a little jelly, we'll scrape that out. So 400 is, it's up to here on the cream. So we open our cream. These are 250 mils, so I'm going to pour one in, and you can rinse these out and put them in the recycle bin because they're hard plastic. So 400. Okay, just enough. So we pour our cream in with our cream cheese and our jelly and scrape it out well. Now, we're going to take nearly all of our strawberries and we're going to put them in here as well. So just leave a few for the top, okay? Now we take our hand mixer and we're going to take our bowl over to plug in the mixer. And here again, make sure our hands are dry before we put in our plug. And also make sure that your whisks are in correctly. So we plug in our mixer and we're going to mix all of this together. So we're going to hold our bowl by the edge and we're going to put our whisks in and make sure our whisks are in before we turn it on. So we're going to whisk all of this together and it takes a few minutes. Make sure that you whisk on a low setting, number 1 or 2, and make sure your bowl is big enough. And the texture is like so when it's ready. So we're going to pull out our plug and we take out our 2 whisks by just pressing on the top. So we do not wash this part. So we're going to put this back in the press. And we're going to put our whisks on our plate over here. So now we take our cheesecake mixture. We can lift our bowl. Now your student will need some help with this. And we're just going to pour it in on top of our biscuit base. And scrape out your bowl well. So we're going to just going to smooth. We're going to smooth out the top of the cheesecake with the back of the spoon. Sometimes it doesn't need to do that. So we're going to take our cheesecake now and we're going to place it in the fridge for about 4 to 6 hours or overnight. So we put our cheesecake in the fridge and make sure it's on a flat surface and we leave it there for about 4 to 6 hours. So we're going to check our cheesecake now. About 4 hours have passed. So just take it out, give it a little shake, no wobble in it. And we're going to take our strawberries in as well. So we have our serving plate and we have our plate for putting our cheesecake on. So what we do here is we take our knife, we go around the inside of the tin. So we're pushing up all around. And it's nice and set. So there's a spring on this cake tin. It's here. So you just open that and it becomes wider. So all we do then is we just lift up the bottom or the edge. So we take our cheesecake. It's still on the board, which is fine, or on the base. So we lift it on to our plate and we can clean those crumbs, and we're going to take our strawberries that we had left over and we're just going to put them in the middle of the top. Now you may like to sprinkle a little sugar over it, but I don't bother. And some people would pipe cream around the edge, but we have a lot of cream in it. So to taste, cut a slice. So cut right down to the base. We get our cake slice or a spatula and we're going to lift it out. And we're going to put a strawberry beside it. So our strawberry cheesecake. Enjoy. Thank you for watching, and if you would like to see more of these videos, please subscribe. The recipe will be underneath in the YouTube.